Tourism in West Virginia is on the rise, and it is no wonder why. With exceptional views, fascinating history, and delicious eats, people are starting to discover why John Denver said this state was almost heaven.
Welcome to West Virginia.
Welcome to... Hey y'all, we are Hannah and Jeremy, and this week we are exploring another new state on our quest to visit all 50.
We left early on a Friday morning in June, making this trip an extended weekend, heading home on Monday. We flew out of our home airport of Tampa, and after a pretty quick flight, we landed in Pittsburg. We chose to land in the Pittsburg area because it was the largest major airport within driving distance of our first night stop in West Virginia. There is a smaller airport located in Charleston, but the flights were significantly more expensive and the drive wasn't too long for us.
Our stop in Pittsburg also gave us the chance to ride the Duquesne Incline. We visited Pittsburg in 2019 before we started making travel videos and remembered that this was one of our favorite stops, mainly because it offers some pretty impressive views of the city. In operation since 1877, and today the incline still only takes exact cash fare. Today the incline does mainly serve as a tourist attraction, but also does function as public transportation for commuters. The incline is a funicular, which is a cable railway that runs along a steep track with two counterbalanced train cars that move in opposite direction of each other. This kind of system is used when the grade is too steep for a traditional railway or even a cog rail like Pikes Peak in Colorado.
Pittsburg is known as the City of Bridges. With hundreds of bridges connecting the various neighborhoods, the city sits at the convergence of three major rivers, the Allegheny, the Monongahela, and the Ohio River. This access to major waterways helped shape the history of the steel industry in Pittsburg, with easy access to shipping raw materials into the city, giving Pittsburg its other nickname, the Steel City.
After our quick stop in Pittsburg, it was time to head to our first stop in West Virginia. Our drive was about 3.5 hours to make it to Fayetteville. It was about time to stop for lunch, so we found a spot we hoped would have a staple of the West Virginia diet, the pepperoni roll. Pepperoni rolls are a West Virginia tradition and the state's official food, as they originated as a portable lunch for coal miners in the early 20th century. They don't need to be refrigerated, so miners could easily pack them for lunch and take them underground with them. We did explore a coal mine during this trip, so stay tuned to the end of this video for that.
Almost every snack stand you stop by offers pepperoni rolls in one form or another. This one just also happened to offer some absolutely huge ice cream cones as well. We opted for our roll to have added sauce, which isn't as traditional, but was perfectly delicious. A little ways up the road, we also stopped at D'Annunzio's Bakery, a traditional Italian bakery offering a more traditional pepperoni roll, as well as soft-crusted Italian white bread. My mom grew up visiting West Virginia every summer, and the one request that she made from our trip was for us to bring her back a pepperoni roll from D'Annunzio's.
Fueled up by pepperoni rolls, we finished our drive to the Fayetteville area, with the main draw being the New River Gorge National Park, which happens to be America's newest national park. We will share more about that in our next video. But we made it a point to visit some of West Virginia's state parks in the area as well. Babcock State Park sits 20 miles north of the New River Bridge and is most known for its iconic Glade Creek grist mill, which is a historic recreation compiled from 3 grist mills previously located throughout West Virginia. The Glade Creek grist mill is a completely functional, living, working monument to the more than 500 mills that used to be located throughout the state, and still actively produces fresh ground cornmeal. We unfortunately arrived after the gift shop had closed, so we will have to come back someday to try it for ourselves.
Babcock State Park is also home to one of the iconic Almost Heaven signs, which have been placed around the state by West Virginia Tourism Board in order to encourage people to share the beautiful and iconic spots around the state. Tourism has recently experienced a boom in this state as more people are starting to make plans to visit the area. Down the road a few miles, we found Hawks Nest State Park, which is best known for its scenic overlook, which provides a bird's eye view of the rugged New River Gorge area below. These views are very easily accessible, and they are just steps from the park's lodge that offers overnight accommodations. West Virginia is one of just a few states with free state parks.
Even though the New River Gorge National Park is America's newest national park, the New River Gorge area is some of the oldest geographic areas carved by millions of years of erosion, with exposed rock layers that formed as the Appalachian Mountains rose. Some of the rocks are as old as 330 million years. The New River was also the main headwaters for the ancient Taos River, which flowed into a large inland sea that covered North America millions of years ago. During our trip, we also wanted to explore the history of coal mining in the area. Coal has contributed significantly to the state's economy and remains a major industry in the area to this day. The Beckley Exhibition Coal Mine offers a ride through the dark passages of a historic and restored coal mine. Tickets are $22 for adults, and the ride lasts about 45 minutes, but it was so informational and a very unique experience.
Tour with 30 passengers, Team Band.
Go into the mine a little ways, and I'm going to stop and check on you guys, see how you're doing. And if at any time any of you decide that coal mining is just not your cup of tea, you let me know and I'll get you right back outside. Told. This coal mine began around 1890 and was in operation until about 1910 or so. The Phillips brothers came here to mine coal, and they mined the Sewell seam, and it's visible on both sides at the bottom. It's bituminous coal, and it's the soft coal right there. The mine sat idle for a long period of time. Then, no working conditions, and the miners used ponies to pull the cars out of the mine back then. The higher mines used mules. This was the pony mine. They were down on their hands. Evidence, archaeologists have uncovered evidence of the Chinese burning coal back that far. Here in the United States, back in 1701, 1702, coal was discovered along the James River in Virginia. And by 1702, it was being used in a forge along the James River. In the early days of coal mining, before the miners would go into the coal mine to work, they would send someone through to check it for safety. When they went through the coal mine in those early days, they used torches and candles and a thing called a teapot. And here we have a teapot. And the teapot works off of kerosene, and all you have to do is flip the top open on it and pour it full of kerosene, and has a wick right there. Light it, and it will give you a flame about that tall. Carbide's in the bottom, water's in the top. That's what the unit looks like. And we're just going to crack open the water, and okay, that's already a good sign. We've got witch's brew coming out of there. Now all we have to do is get it screwed back together and say the magic words. What's the magic words? Abracadabra. Yes, maybe I should say I don't know. I don't know. Oh! Okay. The coal miner's environment back then. Here it is. The miner could work this by himself, or he may have an uncle, a brother, a son working with him, but you still got 20 cents per ton. All right.
How many tons could they do in a day?
Somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 to 10 is the official number. 6 to 8 is sort of what I researched.
Per person?
Pardon me?
Per person?
Well, one coal miner working by himself could probably get 6 to 8 tons in a day. If you had somebody else working with you, it's going to go up a little.
Okay.
Yeah. But you're still up again. And you're going to use a coal drill. It's called a breast auger. Put the tip of it into the coal seam, Put the breastplate right up against your midsection and lean into it. Use both hands and push and turn and push and turn. And about then 2, call out what?
Fire.
Fire in the hole. 3 times as loud as you could call. Fire, fire, fire in the hole. Remember the carbide light? Bring it down there, touch it to the fuse, and then we're what? Run. Out of here, yes. You can go left, you can go right, but you can't stay here anymore. If you're one.
We learned a lot on this tour, and the most interesting part was our guide. And many of the guides at the exhibit are former miners or are from families of miners with decades of experience. After the tour, we visited the grounds and got to observe the very small spaces that these workers lived in. This was a single dwelling where a single man or a married man would make his home away from home. He would stay at the mining camp during a hard working week and return to his home on the weekends. His rent would have been about $2 a month.
This larger miner's house was an example of a 3 or 4 room home that was more prominent in the later 1920s and 30s. Miners rented the house from the company and the rent would be deducted from their paychecks. Oftentimes, they would in turn rent out a room to a single miner. Each house has its own outhouse in the backyard, as many mining towns did not have sewage facilities. Join us next week as we tour the New River Gorge National Park and take an unbelievable walk under the bridge on a catwalk 800 feet above the gorge. Thank you for watching today's video, and if you made it to the end, I hope you will subscribe and join us next time. We'll see you there. I wouldn't.
It's new enough. It should be fine. Oh, Hannah. Oh, Hannah.